Hey YouTubers, it's RcMike again. Here we are with another unboxing. This is a SCX10iii Jeep Gladiator, which we had just gotten this just not too long ago, and this is our second one, which our first Gladiator was kind of not exactly what I was hoping for. I was expecting it to be my go-to crawler car, and it turns out with the lengthened wheelbase, I thought that would be good for crawling. Well, it's not. And the bed, it's also not great for crawling. So a lot of the things that I thought were going to work out really good for crawling actually were the exact opposite. They made it worse. So if you're going to get this car for crawling purposes, it's really not a good rock crawler. Now, what it is good at is it is a really neat scale model, and it took me a long time to realize, you know, this car is really neat. It didn't do what I wanted it to do initially. So anyway, we ended up taking our first Gladiator completely apart, and we were kind of lost interest in it because it just wasn't what I wanted. So anyway, after quite some time, we decided it'd be nice to have another Gladiator, but this time with a different mindset, kind of going forward with a different mindset of more of a scale vehicle. And we're going to try some things to make it off-road worthy, but it's not a, you know, high capable rock crawler like you might think. It's more like it's a really neat trail truck, and it's got some really neat scale appearance to it, and there's still all kinds of accessories that you can get with it, and that's kind of fun. So with that, that's kind of the backstory for why we waited so long to, you know, have a Gladiator for you. And the answer is this is the second one. So anyway, we'll just pull it out of here. And of course they give you this this radio, which I'm not in love with because it is only a 3-channel radio. So you got this thumb steer, which is kind of neat, and then it's got a dig switch, which is also kind of neat. But and then if you want the telemetry, you got to run a Spectrum battery, and I just don't like proprietary batteries that require a certain kind of plug to operate the system. So, and it's only a 3-channel, so it won't work your 2-speed and the dig. So you're kind of limited as to what it will do, which is kind of frustrating when you get a car this caliber. You kind of want to use all the functions. So anyway, I'm going to pull this out. I think they've got it zip tied down in there. Okay. Yeah, it's got this really neat bed. And the rock sliders are on it. The wheels and tires are typical, you know, ready to run kind of thing. It's one of those things where you could leave it as is, but in order to get the real potential out of the car, you really kind of want to replace those wheels and tires with something, you know, a little better. So we'll get this thing pulled off of here. And then of course they've got your parts and things inside here, and then your manual is also in here, so you don't want to throw that away. So that's the car. Like I said, it's a really long wheelbase. When you start going over rocks and stuff, the front end is the same as an SCX10 Wrangler, which works really good as a rock crawler. the belly's the same except it's longer. So when you crawl over a rock, you end up high centering on the belly before the back tires ever have a chance to come up over the rocks. So it kind of drags its belly pretty easily, and then if you do make it past that point and you start going up, the back end wants to dig into the ground pretty quickly. And you know, you're trying to go up a rock, this is digging into the ground, and it's like an anchor, and it's just pulling you back. So that being said, you know, you gotta run it for what it is, and it's a really neat scale trail truck. So with that, we're going to do some modifications and kind of keep the idea of it being a trail truck where you're actually going down a trail versus, you know, trying to find ungroomed or unmaintained, or shall we say, you want to kind of avoid competition style rock piles with this sort of crawler, because it's just going to leave you kind of disappointed with its ability. And the first one we had, we did some modifications to it, and it just still not what I was wanting it to do. So in any event, we're going to do some modifications to it, and we'll show you what I think should be done with the car, and that's keeping it kind of more of a scale thing, and on more mild terrain. So anyway, we've got lights installed from the factory, which is super neat. And then of course here's our 2-in-1, you know, receiver speed control. We're not even going to run this. This is honestly, it's just a waste of time. This system, yes, it works the car, but it's dismal to say the least. This shift servo is all about why people hate RC cars. It fails quickly, it just doesn't work. That just has to be taken out. So the motor is about the only thing that might be okay. You could keep that and run it for a little while, but of course there's so much better stuff out there that works better for this type of car that we're going to strip that out too. And then the steering servo, you're much better off just pulling that. Don't even run it, just pull it out, put a decent servo in here, then it's going to work in the car, and then use this servo for something else, maybe a shift servo or anything but a steering servo for this particular rock crawler. So unfortunately, the electronics package in here, it'll get you going, but it's really not going to do the car justice. And then of course it has a 2-speed transmission, which is right here, yet it looks like this is, I don't know if it's locked out. Wow. Looks like they've got the lockout pin inside here. It's a little plastic bracket. So you got to take this transmission apart to take that out so you can get second or low gear. And then this servo is operating the dig, which is kind of cool. I mean, you wouldn't normally have a dig on a Gladiator, you know, but it's still kind of fun, and it will kind of get you around corners a little quicker. So we're going to put different shift servos in. We're going to engage the 2-speed, and then we're going to put a different motor in and a different servo, and then we'll at least have a little better working crawler, you know, or scale crawler. And then we're going to do scale accessories probably, and try to keep it more, we're going to try and keep it on more tamer terrain and kind of just have a different mindset with it. So with that, that is the SCX10iii Gladiator, our second one that we're going to hopefully, you know, do some mods and have fun with in a different way. So with that, we'll see you next time.